Hello, it's Linda Lysakowski, and I'm here today because many of you attended our recent Learn with Linda session on running a capital campaign, and I talked about the 5 secrets of success in a capital campaign. And after that session, I had a lot of questions from people who said, Gosh, we were planning a capital campaign, but now we're putting it on hold because of COVID, or my organization is really struggling because we need to expand, but we're really concerned about running a capital campaign in this day and age in our what we call the new normal. So I decided to record a very quick 10-minute session for you to talk about running a capital campaign in the new normal situation. So if you took that earlier Learn with Linda session, you know I covered 5 secrets of a successful capital campaign. So, if your organization has thought about a capital campaign or maybe already started one and then put it on hold because now suddenly everything in our lives has changed, I want to talk to you about how you can still do a capital campaign even in this trying times, in this new normal that we're all tired of hearing about. So, if you recall, those 5 secrets of success were to engage a consultant who has experience in capital campaigns, and also to do a planning or a feasibility study. Unless you're really, really ready to go ahead with the campaign, a study is almost always recommended. And then to make sure that your board is on board with this, that they're ready to commit financially, emotionally, time wise, and to make sure you have the infrastructure in place to run a campaign. And then, what I consider one of the most important, if not the most important, success keys in a capital campaign is building a crackerjack team of volunteers. So, I'm going to just spend the next 10 minutes or so telling you how you can still do all this, even in the new normal that we're living in right now. So, let's talk about the role of consultant during the new normal. There are such things as a virtual planning study. Believe it or not, you can run a virtual planning study, and I'm going to tell you in a few minutes how that would work. But things like preparing the campaign plan, you don't need a consultant sitting at a desk in your office to do that. They can do that in their own office, send it to you, work back and forth through Zoom, through phone calls, through emails. They also can do the same thing with writing your case for support. They can gather the information from you virtually. They can write the case for support and again go back and forth with you through Zoom meetings or some other media that will allow you to work together. And many people are using things like Google Docs and things where they can work on documents simultaneously and do it all virtually. Even training your staff and your board and your volunteers can be easily done virtually. Yes, it's great to be there in person. I agree. And I miss in person meetings, believe me, as much as the rest of you do. But it can be done virtually. And with tools like Zoom, it's almost just as good as being there in person because you can see each other. You can see the nuances and share with each other the good and the bad and the ugly and whatever else you need to share. And certainly serving as a sounding board for your staff and your board and serving as a coach, that can all be done virtually. So don't be too scared of doing a capital campaign now because with a little flexibility, and that's one of the things we all know in development, being flexible is critical. You can do a capital campaign. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you could do a study through a virtual reality type of scenario. First of all, what is your role typically in a study? It's developing a list of interviewees and perhaps scheduling the interviews for the consultant and mailing out letters or emails before the consultant contacts them to schedule an interview. So that could all be done virtually. You can develop that list through virtual meetings with your consultant and the people on your board and staff who are going to be involved in this campaign. The interviews can certainly be scheduled by phone, by email, and mailing letters or emails. Obviously, you don't need to get out and do anything in person. Now, typically the consultant usually meets with people face to face, but in this day and age, I think it's very possible for the consultant to prepare the preliminary case for support virtually and prepare the letters that are going to go out to the potential interviewees and to work with you on scheduling the meetings. That can all be done easily. And even the interviews themselves. Now, there may be some people who do feel comfortable meeting face to face, and that could be done. But in this day and age, most people are so accustomed to using Zoom and other tools like it to conduct their business virtually that I think anybody that's ready to be interviewed would be willing to sit down and protect themselves and the consultant and everybody else involved by doing this through Zoom. And it's just as good as doing an in-person meeting. So that could be done. And then the consultant will prepare a report and present it to your board. And again, that can easily be done virtually. So don't be so afraid that, gosh, we can't possibly do a study because who's going to want to be interviewed? It can be done, trust me, and it can be very successful. So the next step in virtual consulting is things like the campaign plan. Once your study is done, the campaign plan can easily developed by the consultant in their office, and they share it with you, and you have some meetings to review it, make any changes that you need to make. The final case for support can be done virtually. Building the infrastructure, the consultant doesn't have to be sitting there and show you how to install a software program if you need it, for example. So those things can all be done virtually. And even working with your board to make sure they're on board with this. Board meetings, I'm holding board meetings all the time now with people virtually, and it works just fine. It's amazing how much you can get done, and maybe even more so than when you meet in person. And identifying and screening donors, that can all be done virtually too. I just worked with a client this morning actually to help refine their prospective donor list, and that can be done virtually. And even training your volunteers can be done virtually. So all of this is meant to try to set your mind at ease, because I don't want you to think you can't possibly do a capital campaign until this COVID is over, and who knows when that's going to be. So I think you really should think about this, because even your volunteers, you can meet with your board to talk about who would be willing to serve on the campaign cabinet. You can review the planning study report and say, who are some volunteers that might have been identified through that? And again, you can do those virtual screening meetings and virtual recruitment of volunteers. It can all be done if you really are flexible. And of course, we know flexibility is the key to success in development. So I want you to just take away some of that fear that you might have about doing a capital campaign. Now, if you took my Learn with Linda session, you know that I have a course on capital campaigns. And this course was developed way before COVID ever was a word in our language. So it's not designed to tell you how to do a campaign during the new normal, but it is designed to give you all the basics that you need for a capital campaign, and then they can be adapted. So if you're interested in this course, it's an 8-lesson course. It's called Capital Campaigns, Yes, You Can Do It. And you take this course at your own pace. You can take all 8 lessons in 1 week if you really are desperate to get started, or you can spread it out over weeks, months. You have a lifetime subscription once you take the course. And for those of you who might need CFRE credits, it is carries with it 7.5 continuing education units through CFRE International. So I think you might be interested in this course, and I'd encourage you to click on the link that's right below here, and you can find out more about the course and sign up for it. And while you're on my website, you can also look at Ask Linda or Speak with Linda, because this is a way for you to purchase an hour of my time if you really have some burning issues specific to your campaign that you want to talk about. Just look on my website for that Speak with Linda option, and you'll be able to purchase an hour or more of my time. So I want to just leave you with a sense of hope that this is not a desperate situation. We can still continue to provide our services to our clients, and you can still do a capital campaign even in the new normal. So thanks so much. Bye.